All right, well, good morning. How's everyone doing today? Good. Again, my name is Norb Holderly, and I'm with a company called Russell Phillips and Associates. And we're the guys that do all the training at all the Florida Venice hospitals, as well as many, many other facilities. A little bit about myself. I used to be a firefighter. I've done safety emergency management work, and I was also a deputy fire marshal at one time. What we're going to do today is first explain a little bit about my company, and I want to make sure everybody understands what we do, because we get a lot of questions about it. It's called Russell Phillips and Associates, RPA, and we are rather unique. We just do health care, fire and emergency management for health care. And I think most people have heard of the NFPA, National Fire Protection Association. You may not know what they do, but anyway, those are the guys that write the fire codes that you comply with. And we have several of our staff members on those committees. We actually chair them. So we have a direct input on the fire codes that you have to comply with. We do a lot of training, over 200,000 people a year, and we're a very small company. And what makes us unique is we do hands-on things. We're going to demonstrate sheet slide this time. We're going to practice clothing fires, and I will actually have a small fire in my lap. You guys are going to put me out. Hands-on experience. And the other thing we do is research. We investigate fires. We actually go to them. We figure out what went wrong, what worked in their fire procedures, what didn't, why it didn't work. We do the same for natural disasters. And why we do this is to make sure what we give you in your fire procedures is best practice. Things that have been proven are known to work. It's a little bit about the company. And we have about 1,300 clients in the U.S. as well. Today, what are we going to do? Well, I'm going to talk about your new fire procedures. You guys got brand new ones. Case studies, 3 fires that actually occurred in healthcare. We're going to review them, things that didn't go too well. A little bit about extinguishers, how to operate them. We are going to review a movie that has sprinklers and smokes. You can understand how your sprinklers work, a little bit about smoke. We're going to demonstrate sheet slide, getting a non-ambulatory patient off the bed quickly, and then that clothing fire, hands-on. You're going to get a chance to do that. Any questions, just go, hey Norb, I've got a question, all right? So a little bit about your procedures. What do we base them on? Well, we came to the facility and we did a survey. What was here? Where are your smoke barrier walls? Types of fire protection systems. Fire detection systems. We wanted to understand that. Departments. Again, those best practices based on fires we've investigated. We applied those with it. There's 2 types. There's general, basically a race, and then each department has department specifics. You were given those recently. I don't know if you've seen them yet. But what does my department do during a fire? What do I do for a fire in my area? Where do I evacuate to? What do I do for a fire not in my area? All in those fire procedures. The other thing is in there, we provided floor plans of the building with fire department entry points. In other words, where should the fire department enter the building for a fire in this area? We want them to come up a stairwell, takes them right into the fire area. So all those things have been provided to you. And John, you said you've handed out the general procedures and the department specifics?
Correct. To the department heads, hopefully they push that down to you this week in regards to your department-specific plan. For most departments, if it's a non-clinical unit, it's about 1.5 pages. If it's a clinical unit, it's about 3 pages in length. And it's a 119-page document that should have been shared by each of the department heads. And the easy thing for them to do is just cut and paste the section applicable to their department and share it with their staff or print it off. But it tells what a charge nurse should do and what the frontline staff should be doing during a fire. Who did receive that?
Anybody see those?
Yeah, I got the whole email, the 120 pages.
Right.
I didn't have time to look through.
Well,
if you just go to your department, there's about 1.5 pages to 3 pages depending
Yeah,
on the
I
type of
didn't break
department.
it down like that.
Yeah.
I just saw it.
you need to understand the general section and then just your department specific. Go to the table of contents, find your department, and that's what you need to know. All right? No reason to know what somebody else does. Okay, your fire procedures are based on race, pretty much universal in the United States for healthcare facilities. Those letters define groups of actions we will take during a fire. You guys also have a code word. It's obviously code red. You can see it up there. And we're going to scream that out as loud as we can when we see a fire, smell, or see smoke. And we're going to include the location, where we're observing that. Why is that important to yell out our code word? What's the whole reasoning behind that? It's right there. What do I want to have happen? I want help. I want staff to respond and assist me in the fire room. So you need to be yelling it so they can hear you. If they can't hear you, you're not getting any help. How many times do I need to say code red in the location? As many times as it takes. You're absolutely right, until someone shows up to help me. Make sense? Now the priority in the fire room is the R. Remove, rescue, get patients, people out of the fire room. That's our priority. One of the things that's often overlooked in a fire is searching the room. We see the patient, we figure that's it. You guys ever get visitors here? If we haven't checked the room, made sure everybody's out, we don't know that. Often I'm told, well, I just saw the patient, they took them down to x-ray. Does that mean someone's not in their room? No. So where do we check? Obviously the bathroom, closet, under beds, behind doors. Any place anybody could be. Once we've searched, we do this extremely important thing. It's called closing the door. Now, patient rooms have one. This room's got multiple doors. All the doors have to be shut, connecting room doors as well. Why is that important to shut the fire room doors? What's that do for us?
Saves time so people don't research and contain.
The thing I'm really looking for, it contains. What does it contain?
No people.
Well, it contains the smoke, all right? Contains the smoke. We're going to mark it. We'll talk about that in a moment. All right, A is activate the alarm. Hopefully somebody did that if it wasn't already sounding when they heard us yelling out. Code red in the location. Now, where do I find the pull stations? And the first class told me they're on the walls, and they're absolutely right. Where do I find them on the walls?
Usually they're by the exit sign.
You're right. They're always by exits, by stairwells, all right? There are other ones in the building. You need to know where they are in your work area. I don't expect you to know where they all are. However, you should be very familiar with them in your work area. You want to be able to pull the one closest to the fire. Someone in the area, when they're hearing code red in the location, is going to call the emergency department receptionist, 5014, and you're going to give them the exact location of the fire, what room it's in. As much information as you have, that's important for you to do. C is close the remaining doors in the fire zone or fire compartment. These are the rest of the patient room doors. Any equipment should be placed in non-occupied rooms. There are none, line it up on one side of the hall. From what I've seen walking around today, you guys have very little equipment in the hallway, and I actually commend you on that. That's very unusual in hospitals today. Non-occupied spaces, one side of the hall. Then finally, E is evacuate. Patient care areas, that decision is going to be made by the charge nurse. Do I have any? Point them out if they don't raise their hands. Just want to know if you're in the class, that's all. I won't pick on you till later. Okay, nobody else? Non-patient care areas, it's going to be the person in charge of that department. First case study, this is a hospital, about 10:30 at night. There's a nurse's station right there in the center. There's 4 nurses, one's a charge nurse. They're smelling smoke. They believe it's in the hallway to my left, and they run down. What they find is a basket on fire in room 204. There is one patient who is in bed. The 3 staff members turn around and run back to the nurse station so they can tell the charge nurse what they discovered. How are we doing here so far? Man, not so good. Now the charge nurse, when they receive that information, immediately makes a phone call. Who do you think they called? No, they called their supervisor at home. I have no idea why they did that. So the supervisor obviously says, implement your procedures, I'll be in. They hang the phone up and make another phone call. Anybody want to guess who they called this time? You're fairly close. They called facilities, maintenance, who said, okay, I'm on my way up, get the fire alarm activated. And then finally they make another phone call, and that's to the police. Why? I have no idea. Well, all this time, when that's going on, what's coming out of the room here? Smoke. And like you guys, there are smoke detectors in the hallway, which activates the fire alarm and shuts the fire doors in the corridor, just like yours. Finally, when the last phone call is made to the police, the charge nurse says, all right, let's go down and get that patient out of the room. Problem is, the hallway is filled with smoke. When they get those doors open, they look in, they can't get down the hallway. It's completely filled with smoke. And the other issue going on here, because the patient room doors are all open, that smoke migrated into those rooms as well. And we end up with 7 patients dying in that fire. Now it gets worse. When the fire alarm was activated, a nurse in another area of the hospital immediately went over and shut off the medical gases to that unit, which would be the oxygen, and killed the patient on a ventilator. Why do you think they shut that medical gas, that oxygen off in their unit? They thought the building was going to blow up, which is only true in the movies and television. Oxygen does not burn. Didn't go well, did it? Think these staff understood what they were supposed to do during a fire? Tragic, actually, when you think about it. So let's talk about here. Let's say we had the same situation. Got a basket on fire in a patient room. We discovered it. What are we going to do? Holler code red, absolutely. With 204. What else? Yeah, get the patient out. What else? What was that? Could we put the fire out if we were comfortable? Pull the alarm. What do we want to do in that room before we even try to put the fire out? Search it. All right? Talk about putting the fire out later, but all right, shut the door. What else? Somebody said the fire alarm. What was really sad in this fire? That fire alarm was right next to the door to the patient room. That was the end of the hall. That was the outside exit. They literally, when they're looking in the room, could have reached over and pulled the fire alarm. No one thought to do that. All right, fire alarm's activated. What else do we have to do here? Think about C. What's C? Yeah, close the rest of the doors in the hallway, all right? So we're going to be closing doors. Equipment in the hallway, if any. This particular case, probably have to line it up on one side. And then my charge nurse is going to make a decision on evacuation. And based on what we've done here, we probably should evacuate, and we simply take our patients down the hall into the next compartment. If they had done that, would anybody have died in that fire compartment? I'm not sure what would have happened with the oxygen being shut off, but in that fire compartment, no one would have died. They simply carried out their fire procedures. Why are doors important? This is the fire actually in a nursing home we went and investigated. This is the hallway. You're looking at a resident room door in this case. You can see where it's completely charred at the upper half. If you look inside the room, though, beyond the door, how does that room look? And there were 2 residents in that room. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Think those residents survived the fire? Absolutely. Matter of fact, this is the room looking out into the hall. Room's not damaged at all. Obviously, they've cleaned up after the fire here. A little bit of smoke or heat damage at the top of the door, but outside of that, that room is fine. Why? The door was shut. In this case, the fire room door was not. Your doors are exactly the same type of a door, 20-minute rated fire door. We're going to mark the door so we don't reopen it. You guys got an option. You can use tape or you can use a marker. Where do I get those items from? Pocket. Nurses always got stuff in their pockets. My wife's one of them. Amazes me. Where else can I get tape or a pen, a marker? Nurses station? All right. F says fire in this room. Do not open it. Matter of fact, once the fire room door is shut, it is never reopened except by who? The fire department. If we've got everyone out, we're going to simply put a slash on the door, and of course the fire room would have the F as well. The 2 biggest reasons patients die in hospital fires, they die of smoke inhalation. It's the fire room door was not shut, or the fire room door was reopened, number 2. The people that reopen the fire room door are the charge nurses, because they don't believe everything was done in the room. They got to check themselves. And then maintenance, because those guys are trying to do what? Put the fire out. Once the door's shut, it stays shut. Next guys going in are the firefighters. My next fire, during the day, right around mealtime, lunch. 33 patients kind of in a day room. This was kind of a rehab facility. They got 2 staff members with them. Staff members coming back from lunch, they smell smoke and discover a fire in the room. They immediately yell out their code word. Staff at the end of the hall in the day room, they come running down, they pull the fire alarm, and they assist in the fire room. There's no one there, they search, and then they end up shutting the door. They run down the hall, shutting the rest of the patient room doors, and then they're going to return back to the day room where they begin evacuating those patients down a little hallway into another compartment. Now, when the fire alarm's activated, staff respond with extinguishers from other areas. And there's 11 of them, and every one of them brings an extinguisher. You guys know you no longer respond with extinguishers, correct? If you need one, there are always extinguishers in the fire compartment. Well, they get to the fire room, and because they have extinguishers, they figure if we didn't bring them, if they didn't want us to use them, they open the fire room door. What do you think comes out of that room? Hot smoke. It startles them, they drop their extinguishers, and they literally run back down the hall. There's 11 extinguishers laying in the hallway. Now, they don't take time to reshut the door. Doors go in, and smoke begins filling the hallway up, and it also fills up that day room. Staff can no longer stay there with the smoke conditions, and we end up with 24 fatalities in that room. Had that door been left closed, would those patients be alive today? They'd be alive after the fire for sure. This is a picture we took. That's the extinguisher right by the fire room door. It wasn't even ready to use. There's 10 more down the hall. Open the fire room door. My next fire's on the night shift. It's about 3 o'clock in the morning. Fire alarm goes off. It's a coded bell system, which means they just count the number of bells. They know where the fire is. Staff realize it's on their floor. There are 2 of them. They break up, and they each go searching one of their halls. Staff on the left side is going down the hall, and they are checking rooms, shutting doors as they go, and they find a fire in the middle room there. Basket's on fire. Part of the bed is burning. Patients in bed hollering for help. They look in, they can clearly see this. They reach over and shut the door, and then they proceed to go across the hall where their plan is to take a sheet off a bed, get it wet, wrap it around them, and then take a towel and wrap it around their face so they can re-enter the room to make the rescue. Anybody think that'll actually work? Again, other than the movies and TVs, it doesn't. Should all be aware of when you put something across your face and you think you're going to be able to breathe in a fire, you're breathing oxygen, correct? You're also breathing all the toxic gases. It's not going to work. Keeps the soot out of your nose, that's about it. So while they're doing that, the other staff members checking for the fire, of course, doesn't find it, comes back down to the fire area, begins opening doors looking for the fire. However, they don't shut them. They get to the fire room and, of course, open the door. Just like the previous case study, they're met by hot gases and smoke, and they immediately leave the fire area. Now, once again, smoke is filling the hall. At this point, the other staff members got the sheet wrapped around them. They got the towel across their face, and they're going to attempt to get into the fire room. However, they're shocked when the hallway's filled with smoke. They can't stay there because their rag across their face isn't working, and they leave. Now, once again, the doors are all open. Smoke fills the corridor, fills the room up, and we end up with 25 fatalities in those rooms. Tragic. They're all tragic. They all have a commonality, though. Anybody notice the commonality here? One thing. Doors. It's all about the doors. The doors were either not shut or reopened. All about the doors. all about the doors. Take one thing away, it's the door. It was really sad in this fire. The staff member, when they looked in, they were actually standing there looking in, and they could see the patient in bed. And they could have easily got into the room. They left and shut the door. They could have got that patient out. Okay, we're going to review race one more time. Code red, R is remove, rescue, get everybody out of the fire room. Don't forget to search bathrooms, closets, under bed. And what do we always include when we're yelling out code red? The location. And how many times do we say that? Many times as it takes, and we're yelling it as loud as we can. A is activate the alarm. And we're going to call the emergency department receptionist, 5014, give them the exact location of the fire. C is close the remaining doors in the fire zone, fire compartment. Any patients in the hallways are placed into a room, equipment, one side, or into a non-occupied space, and then the nurse in charge will make the decision on evacuate. Questions? Yes?
E used to also be for extinguish, so we're not doing that anymore?
E used to be extinguish many, many years ago, long time ago.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot.
No, I'm with there. I'm with you.
Also, so we don't have access to any extinguishers on the floors anymore?
You have there are extinguishers all over the building.
Well, you were saying that we didn't have.
What we're not going to do is, if I'm responding from some other area, grab an extinguisher and go to the fire.
Okay.
If we,
The policy that was changed in December that should have been effectively communicated to everyone, no longer respond as a first responder to the announced fire with extinguisher in hand.
Okay.
It will come within the department itself.
and the reason E was exchanged to evacuate instead of extinguish, because what do you think staff was doing when they showed up and the door was shut? Trying to extinguish it because they opened the door to go in and then it became ineffective. And we were losing patients in fires because once
Well,
the,
most people don't know what they're doing anyway, so.
I won't argue that point at all. I won't argue that point at all. All right, E, evacuation. Nurse in charge, you make it. How do you do this? Well, is the fire still burning in the room? It was burning when you shut the door. It's going to be burning till the fire department puts it out. It's that simple. What are the smoke conditions in the hall? Little or no smoke. Little is way above our heads at the top of the ceiling. That's a safe environment and we shall evacuate. If the hallway is filled with smoke, not a safe environment, we can't safely evacuate, this is where we leave patients in the rooms. Do not evacuate. Now often we get confused here. We see the smoke in the hall and we think we got to get everybody out. We're putting them at risk. Behind their doors, they're safe. You saw that one slide with the door shut. We see no smoke in the hall and we figure no reason to. This is when we have the opportunity and we want to. The thing you got to remember is when the fire department gets to the fire room, they open the door to go in. And we all know what's going to come out. Smoke. We no longer can safely evacuate. And the other thing you can no longer do now is provide any medical help or support to your patients. When we have the opportunity, we want to evacuate. Important thing to remember. Questions on that? Fire extinguishers. Throughout the building, anybody know how you locate them? It's easy to do. Look down the hall and what do you look for? Along the wall, up about 6 feet or so, 7 feet, there is a little red sign with a white extinguisher. That's where they are. All right? How to operate them, it's called pass. P is simply pull the pin. It's straight out. There will be a seal on it keeping the pin in place so it's not accidentally discharged. If you're having difficulty pulling the pin, the seal won't break, twist it, that'll break the pin, then pull it out. A is aim the nozzle. It's that black rubber hose on the side. Release it from the clip, aim it at the base of the fire. 6 to 8 feet away, squeeze your handle and sweep that nozzle side to side at the base of the fire till it's out or you've emptied the extinguisher. Now there are some rules on extinguisher use. Patient room. Patients are out, room's been searched, all other staff are out of the room, and anywhere you use an extinguisher, your back is to the door. Never let the fire get between you and the way out. They are for small fires. Fire bigger than my extinguisher, don't mess with it. They are for small fires. And it's one extinguisher. It's called one and done. If I get it out, great. If I'm not successful, I'm not going to keep trying. We leave the room and shut the door. Questions? Types of fires my extinguishers are effective on. The red ones are ABC, appropriate for the small contained fires you possibly could have. An A fire is anything that leaves an ash residue. A B fire are liquids that'll burn. You guys should be thinking about grease, oils, and alcohols. And a C fire, anything that has electricity to it. Now, someone mentioned, could we put the fire out? Do we have other options other than fire extinguishers for a fire in a patient room? Such as? We don't have to put it out unless we're comfortable. We got the patient out, search the room, everybody's out. Could we smother the fire using bedding? Basket fire, perhaps. Could you pour water on it? These are Class A type fires, things that leave ash residue. If you're comfortable doing it, by all means try. If you're not, don't mess with it. But those are other options you'd have. I have a video here on sprinklers and a little bit about smoke so you can understand what you can expect to have happen if the sprinklers operate. Most people are totally confused about sprinklers because we all see in the movies and television when one goes off, they all go off. When you pull the fire alarm, they go off. None of that is true except in the movies and TV. Sprinklers are actually heat activated. Yours operate at 155 degrees. When the ceiling temperature is 155, at a sprinkler, it goes off. It's normally 1, that's it. Rarely you get 2 to go off. Their job is to contain the fire to room of origin, and they do an exceptionally good job at that. Fire stays in the room it starts. They may also extinguish it. However, they never contain what? Smoke. Do not contain the smoke. Matter of fact, they actually generate a little more. That's why it's so important to shut the door. Now, you are a fully sprinklered building. What the video shows is a test facility, 2 bedrooms, 1 sprinklered, 1 not. You're going to clearly see the difference here. All right, we're going to get a fire on some curtains. That's the ceiling temperature. If we discover this fire, we can easily get in. Duck down, get below this. Time goes on. We're about 1 minute and 5 seconds, 10 seconds. Now it's getting a little bit iffy. We really got to duck down. 1.5 minutes. We're getting at the point where we cannot safely enter. And as time goes on, clearly it gets much too hot to enter this room. You can also see the smoke layer as it's getting lower and lower. And we're at 13 minutes or so. It is well over 1,000 degrees in the room, and pretty much everything is burning. Sprinkler, same room. Temperature is very much the same. 45 seconds, we can easily get into this room to remove patients, search the room. Time goes on, ceiling temperature is getting hotter, and about 70 seconds, 80 seconds, the sprinkler head's going to operate. You can see that. And in this case, the fire is actually extinguished. This is the bedroom in the non-sprinklered room. It's pretty much gutted. You're going to see the hallway. You can actually see the damage in the hallway. You can see the level of smoke. That black line above it is where the smoke was. This is the sprinklered room. The curtains were burning. The only damage from fire is the curtains. The rest of the room's got some obviously water damage. Side by side, sprinklered, non-sprinklered. Sprinkler head operates. Fire gets controlled, in this case extinguished. Non-sprinkler continues to burn. That's what sprinklers do for you. Questions on that? All right, how do we enter a room? How do we know it's safe? Well, if the door's shut, I want you to feel it. Back of your hand. Place it on the door, slide it down. It is highly unlikely it's going to be hot. However, if it is, do not open it. You cannot safely enter that room. More likely, it's actually going to feel cool, possibly warm. In that situation, I want you to bend down, open the door slowly, and look in. You're looking for 3 things here. How low is the smoke? Can I get below it? How hot is it? And where's the fire? Is it blocking my way into the room? Now, if I can safely get below the smoke, and the rule of thumb is this, if I can duck down, look in and see a patient, I should be able to get in the room. 3 feet above the floor, I should be able to crawl on my hands and knees. It's your personal decisions you have to make. Not comfortable, shut the door. If it's so hot in there, I can't enter. Obviously, I don't go in. I shut the door. The fire is blocking my way in. Is it a basket? Can I slide it out of the way? Can I get by it? Again, that's a decision you'll have to make. Questions on that? And of course, as soon as I see conditions in the room for a fire, what am I yelling out? Code red in the location. Leave the door open while you're in there. Now, some of your rooms, was it, John, where are those rooms? ICU, you got some rooms?
You talking about the cell closers?
Yeah.
Yeah, at the end of each patient wing, there's 4 rooms that are isolation rooms that have door closers, and we have 2 in PACU that have sliding door closers to keep those rooms isolated. And then we have, that's it for door closers on patient rooms.
Yeah. If the door has an automatic self-closer, it won't stay open by itself, and you can block it open, do that. All right, try to keep the door open when you're in there. Why? If I'm yelling out code red with the door shut, is anybody going to hear me? A lot less chance, all right? Make sense? Questions on that? I'm often asked, well, how do we know where the fire is? Fires are not really that hard to find. You guys all know this. What's the best way for us to discover a fire if the fire alarm is not sounding? Smell, you're going to smell the smoke, absolutely. Really good thing, works really well. We're going to smell smoke, all right? If the fire alarm's activated because the smoke detector's gone off in the hallway or sprinkler's gone off, obviously we're going to have a much better understanding where it is, because you're certainly going to be able to see the smoke in the hall. Sprinklers make a lot of noise. Make sense? Questions on that? Okay. Rest of my class is hands-on. We're going to do a couple demonstrations here. I need some help to do the sheet slide. This is how to get a non-ambulatory patient off the bed quickly in a fire, perhaps other emergency situation. I need 2 of you, one to be a patient, one to assist me. You should not have any neck back issues, be pregnant, think you're pregnant, or be on restriction, or believe you can't do it safely. The faster I get my help, guys, the faster you're going to get done. So I need 2 of you. Who would like to help me out?
That's kind of together.
Kevin? Who else? One more. Come on, I need somebody to help me, a staff member. All right, Kevin, get right under the sheets. Get right under the sheets. Right. Okay, remember, you're non-ambulatory, don't stand up.
Where I found you
All right.
2 days ago.
So. I don't know what that means, but we won't go there. All right, and you are? Melsa. Okay, I'm smelling smoke. I run down the hall. I look in Kevin's room. I got a little smoke at the ceiling. Basket's burning. I'm screaming, code red, Kevin's room, as loud as I can. Now, if I work the unit, I know who's ambulatory and who's not, and I know right away Kevin's not. I'm thinking sheet slide. The first thing I need to do is get the top covering off. I am not waiting for help, but Melsa shows up. She's going to give me a hand. So what I want her to do is come over by me, and I want her to grab that top covering right at the feet. So whatever there, the sheet, blanket, we're going to take it, and we're going to place it on the floor next to the bed, ideally on the side closest to the door. Now, before we get Kevin off, we may have to disconnect some medical equipment. In the fire procedures in the medical departments, it actually lists your equipment and what's the appropriate thing to do. 2 quick examples. Nasal cannula, that comes off real easy. Catheter, well, you're going to bring the Foley bag. Simply place it on his abdomen. We address the medical equipment, and next it's the fitted corners. We're just going to pull up on them, get them loose, and then we're both coming around the same side of the bed, and that's where the top covering is. She's going to be between the hips and feet right here. I'm going to be between the shoulders and hips. So I want you to come right over here, and I want you to grab the sheet, and we're going to roll it right up nice and tight to Kevin. One leg is going to go up against the bed, one behind us, and we're going to pull him right up tight to our leg. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Right up tight to our leg. Nice and tight. Now, we're going to turn and face each other. You are going to wrap the sheet around the lower legs. That's between the knees and the feet, and you just grab right a hold. So I want you down a little further, because I want you right in this area. If you pick up too high, his feet will bend. So right there. In a moment, she's going to do this. She's simply going to spin around, basically slide him right off the bed. She's going to go about right to here, lower the feet to the floor, and she's going to let go. What she does not do is raise the feet up or pull him off the bed. I position myself between his shoulder and elbow, tight against the bed. My right hand goes to right shoulder, left to left shoulder, and I'm going to snug the sheet up. The easiest way to do that is simply pull it back towards you. I take my outside leg, place it behind me, and I bend my knees, and I'm going to stay right in this position. You ready? Just relax. Okay, slide them off. Keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. Push them to the floor. Relax, relax. He's going to slide. Relax, relax. Right down. Without me doing what, guys? I didn't do any lifting at all. He's a big guy. So we got him to the floor. We still got to get him out. So I want you to go over here, and I want you to grab that top covering out we put on the floor, and I want you to come right up to his right shoulder with right up here. Grab the sheet he's on. Now, realistically, the door would be somewhere over there, so we're going to spin him around. Just kind of pull him towards you. Keep up. Okay, and we're going to pull him out. Just pull him out. That's good, it's the rug. And we pull him out. I like to pull him on the rug because it's not comfortable. Well, I didn't want to pull him on the rug too much. What do you think? Quick, efficient, no lifting. We didn't crack his head open. Do you think that's... They like that. You got friends. Any questions? What if you're by yourself? I can't wait for help because what's the smoke doing? It's getting hotter. So how do I do it myself? Well, of course, I'm screaming code red in the location because I want help, but I can't wait. Top covering's off. Address medical equipment. I come down to the feet, undo the fitted corners. I wrap the sheet around the lower legs. My legs tight against the bed, backs to their head. I simply slide the legs off the bed. Slide up to the hip, keep my leg against the bed, one behind me, roll the sheet up to their hip, pull their hip to my leg. Gravity is working for me here. Slide up the shoulder elbow area, leg behind me, bend my knees, undo the fitted corners, grab the sheet at the shoulder, slide the torso over, and just like before, they're going to slide down, grab the top covering, pull them out of the room. Questions on that?
Well, obviously this is in lieu of moving the bed, which is 5 seconds of work.
Is it really? Bed's normally our last reason.
But all the work that you're doing instead of just moving a bed out of the room.
I can probably have him off the bed quicker than you think. That quick.
You could, but when you take inexperienced CNAs and nurses,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? That's where you have
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. You guys move beds all the time?
Yes.
In and out of rooms? Ever do it in a fire? Problem with beds is this. Beds are our last resort. Remember that picture I showed you of the doors? You know what happened in that fire? Staff were taking the bed. And they were excited and they pushed it in the bed sideways in the door. And guess what they couldn't shut? Couldn't shut the fire room door. That happens a lot. Interesting. The recent one just recently happened. Staff took the bed. Guess what got stuck under the door? It wasn't the bed. The cord. They couldn't shut the door. Now, fortunately, no one died there because the staff got the doors all shut, but a few of them ended up with some smoke inhalation. Had they not taken the bed, would that have happened? It's quick and efficient. Beds are our last resort. The other problem with the beds, we start taking beds, what do? Plug up the hallway. Fire in Toronto. They evacuated everybody on beds. They took them to the next compartment. Fire department says, I want this compartment evacuated. They couldn't even get down to check on the patients in the rooms because the hallway was so full of beds. Now, you got some wider hallways, but that's the issue. Sheet slide. Trust me on that one, all right? Historically, fires where beds are taken, not good things happen. And you can do it quickly. Now, if they're on a stretcher, some areas like emergency, probably take the stretcher. Make sense? Sheet slide, quick and efficient. Very fast.
Norm, because each class is slightly different with the type of questions asked. Bariatric patients,
Yeah.
believe it or not, we might end up with one someday.
Bariatrics. This is not going to work on a bariatric patient. Once you're 350 or larger, and these are non-ambulatory, body mass is so big, it's just not going to happen. Now, that is a case where you would take the bed if it's a normal size hospital bed. However, that's not going to be the case. Very, very rarely, there are much larger beds which do not fit through the door. They're actually assembled in the room. So we're going to break a rule we normally don't break. You can also do this for a combative or resisting patient. We're going to attempt to put the fire out first. And these are the Class A fires, things that leave ash residue, and we're going to utilize what's available to us in the room, not an extinguisher. Water, bedding. We get the fire out, what do we buy ourselves? Lots and lots of time. We stop the generation of smoke and heat. We can get a Hoyer lift, get them out. Combative resistant patient, we can deal with that patient in a much safer manner. However, if we are not able to put the fire out, smoke conditions are still tolerable for us in the room, we're going to lower the bed as far as it'll go, depending on the model. Newer ones about 8 inches, some of the older ones about 16. Lower it as far as it'll go, address any medical equipment, and push the patient off the bed. This is not pulling them towards you, and it's not going to be 1 or 2 of you. It can be 3, 4, 5, depending on the size. If you pull them towards you, who do they end up on? They're going to be on top of you. Yes, they can break bones coming off the 16 inches. You guys fix bones, they heal. Smoke inhalation, sometimes not so much. Pull them out of the room. If they're so large you cannot get them off the bed, or we cannot pull them out of the room, you shut the door. We did the best we could for them. We got them as low as we could, bought them as much time. We all know the best place in a fire to be is on the floor, as close as you can get to it. Now, the last class said, well, won't the room get really involved in fire? No, you just saw the sprinkler video. That's not going to happen. Fire department will make the rescue. Now, the other thing you want to make sure the fire department knows it's a bariatric patient. They may or may not be familiar with that term. Tell them how big they are. We got a 550-pound patient. They're normally thinking normal-sized people, 1 or 2 firefighters do the rescue, not the entire crew. Make sense? This will be the toughest situation you ever deal with in a fire in a patient room as a bariatric patient. Questions on that? Think sheet slide. All right, clothing fires. Your guys are a non-smoking facility, right? That rule is followed to the letter. No, it's not. I had a cigarette in the lobby before I came up. I don't even smoke. It's a rule. People break rules. You guys always drive the speed limit, every one of you? No. Why not? It's a rule. Rules are broken. 6% of the fires in hospital are caused by smoking. Name one hospital that you know that allows smoking in it. They don't anymore. It's been that way a long time. People break rules. Do patients get their clothing on fire? The answer, unfortunately, is yes. Happens a lot, more than you would think. Did anybody see the fire earlier in the late fall in Chicago at a nursing home? It was on the internet. It kind of went viral. Patient was smoking, caught on fire. Staff didn't know what to do. It's pretty tragic. The guy's burning. They don't know what to do. He ends up dying. All captured on their surveillance video. So I'm going to teach you what to do. God forbid it happens, but we got to know how to extinguish the fire. Where do patients normally smoke if they're ambulatory in a patient room? Yeah, the bathrooms. Problem is, in the bathrooms, do you have any cigarette butt containers? You know where they put the cigarettes? They don't think like flushing them down the toilet. They often put them in the trash. Where do they smoke in bed? Under the covers. I can tell you stories in ICU where it happens while they're on oxygen. Where do they put the cigarette butts? Under the mattress, under their covers. We get fires. If you have a patient on fire in the bed, you're going to smother it using resources readily available. Bedding. The first thing you want to do is create a barrier in front of you. Simply put it right like this. Hold it about shoulder width. As you approach, there's the head. You want to be facing the feet, standing between the shoulders and head. Arm closest to them is going to go across the upper chest. I come across their chest. I protected their face. I am protected. I drape the sheet over, and I brush down till the fire's out. Check to make sure, leaving my arm across the chest. I pull it back, peek around. Fire out, remove the sheet, treat the burns. Fire not out, leave my arm across the chest, redrape it, and rebrush. Make sense? How do we treat burns? What's the best way to do that? Got a lot of it here. Water. Water. Kevin, sit here for a second. It's painless. For me. What do we do if they're sitting in a chair or a wheelchair? Again, we create that barrier with our item. And again, simply hold it in front of you, about shoulder width. As we approach, you want to line your shoulders up in a straight line, face the same way they do. For a wheelchair, take your closest foot, put it through the spoke, step down, or place it behind the wheel. Why do we do this? Because if they're ambulatory, they often kick backwards. It's an instinctive reaction. Arm closest to them starts at the shoulder closest to you and goes tight across their upper chest. We're going to hold the sheet up. Again, it'll protect their face and protect us. Now, unlike the movies where they're doing this, quite often they're protecting their face like this because what don't they want to burn? Their face. Again, it's an instinctive reaction. Looks like this. I come across, I protect his face and myself, I drape it over. Now to smother it, I've got an air pocket, I've got to get it eliminated. I simply tuck the sheet straight back, nice and tight, smothering the fire. Take my arm, sweep to the floor a couple times, then check to make sure it's out. Forearm stays right across the chest. I reach over, pull it back up to my shoulder, peek over. Fire out, remove the sheet. Again, treat the burns. If it's not, leave your arm across their chest, redrape, tuck, and sweep, and check. Now, in both these situations, once their face is protected, they often grab at you because they want you to stay there and help them. If you're doing it correctly, you'll get the fire out. Questions? And of course, what are we screaming out while we're doing this? Code red, no location.
Code red!
There you go. You got to be yelling hard. You got to be yelling louder than they are. All right, I'm going to ask a series of 3 questions. If you fall into any one of them, I want you to come up here. I want no explanations. Pregnant, think you're pregnant. Respiratory issues, asthma, things of that nature, have a significant fear of fire. Don't care which one you fall into, but if you do, I need you to come up here.
I have stupid ass.
I didn't need to know that,
I just told you I'm sorry.
but you're going to get to go first and leave first.
Oh, flip.
All right, anybody else? Okay, Rita, you're going to practice without the fire.
Okay,
You're capable of doing that?
I think so.
All right, so there's some sheets over there. I'm going to pretend I have a fire in my lap. Go get one.
Okay.
Rita's going to go first without the fire. The rest of you, like I mentioned earlier, I will have a fire in my lap. It's a small one. I want you to put it out. It's a toga. Don't ask. Don't ask. Okay. I'm burning right here.
Okay,
I'm still burning.
all right.
I'm going to be dead here in a minute.
You probably will be.
Okay.
Okay. Okay,
Right across my chest, straight across.
what?
Right there.
All right.
Okay, protect my face. I'll bring your arm over. Drop it. Let go. No, I want you to keep your arm here to protect my face.
Okay.
Tuck.
I thought I had to put your arm in there.
Nope.
been burning in there, I'm sorry.
I'm not going to keep my arms in the fire. I won't do
Okay,
that.
all right, then.
Tuck back, both sides. Don't worry about that. Just tuck straight back. I don't care about that. at all.
Okay, all right,
Sweep. Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Reach over.
okay.
Pick it up. Stand up straight because I want to make sure it's out. Keep your arm across my chest. Is it out?
Yeah, sure
You
is.
sure? Because they're not going to tell you. All right.
Yeah, it's out.
Okay.
Trust me on that one.
Okay. Take the sheet off.
Okay,
Treat the birds. Okay. You want to
Sorry.
keep your arm across their chest
okay.
because if you move it, where's the fire going?
In the face,
Yeah. Who else though?
me,
Yep.
okay,
All right. Good.
all right.
The rest of you, some sheets over there, one up here, one here. Grab it, get in line, and we'll do this.
So Jessica, do you need to change your camera positions? I didn't know if you wanted to change it because they'll be lining up here. We'll have about 17.
You want to come up here, Jessica, closer?
Get one. You are done.
I'll tell you what, Jessica, if you want, we can do one at the very end, just have one person stay. You get a better camera angle. They're not going to call down and say, give me 5 minutes, although they might. Sweet. Check, check. Pick it up nice and high. Okay, stand up a little bit straight. I want to get your face over there. All right, Kevin, that was perfect. Hold the sheet up. Hold it so they can see. Is that burned? This is a cheap hospital sheet, low thread count, not flame retardant. Think about it. It works extremely well. Most of you thought if you never did see that, it wouldn't work at all. Why do we show it to you? To give you the confidence and show it does work. Thank you.
Code red.
Check. Sweep first. Sweep.
Oh, sleep more?
Yep. And then check. Stand up straight. Good.
Good, clear.
Am I alive? I don't think you care. Probably not up there. Okay. Excellent. Nice job. Tuck, 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 tuck. Sweep, sweep. Check, check,
Okay.
check, 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 check. Stand up straight. Is it out? Good. Do not pat, because if you have a large fire and you're patting, you're just going to push it away. You bring your hand up, it just draws it back, all right? It's sweep.
Code red.
Very good, very good. Turn your arm over, drop it. Tuck, tuck. Check. Good.
Don't do this to your children at home.
Code red.
Okay, this hand right across. Okay, let go, tuck, tuck. Keep your hand here. Tuck, 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 tuck. Nice and tight. Sweep. Check. Stand up straight. Is it out? Out. Good. Go ahead.
Code red. Code red.
Okay. Nope.
No?
This hand all the way across.
Yeah.
Bring it over. Tuck. Sweep. Check. Oh, check. Check. Not that way. No. Reach across.
Check what?
Stand up straight. Good. Stand up straight. You don't stand up straight, where's the fire going?
My face.
And if you lift it up here, where's the fire going? On you.
Oh.
And if you go like this, put your hand here and bring it around, where are you pushing the fire? In their face. That's why you go all the way across.
Here.
Yes.
All right. Code red. Okay.
All the way across. Great. Tuck. Side. Sweep. Check. Perfect.
You get it higher when you
Just a little bit
Higher?
higher. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Okay. Awesome. That was cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I pass?
We have a written exam next. You're good. You're good. Yep. Yep. Let go. Tuck. Don't sweep, or sweep, don't pat.
Okay.
Then check it, stand up straight, pick it back. Good.
Good job. She's one of our Code Red ED receptionist people.
Oh, you're the one that makes a page. Excellent. Nice job. Nice job. Good job. Good job. Sweet. Check. Stand up. Good job.
Good job, Crafty.
Excellent.
You are done.
Thank you, Norm.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Nice and tight. Check. Stand up straight and then pick that up. Good, good.
Code red.
You're welcome. Perfect. Nice job.
Oh!
Okay, what do we do, Tuck? That's why we check. Stand up straight. Good.
All right.
That's a good example for the video.
Yeah, why we check?
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good job, Jessica.